What's up everybody, this is Edward, your favorite homeboy. It's been a while because I've been doing a lot of videos for our new website. So I wanted to give you a quick update on my real estate portfolio and talk about the losers in my portfolio and the winners in my portfolio. So stick around if you want to know what's a real estate loser in today's market and what's something you could be putting your money in the future. All right, so it's been about not even 12 months, but I have a vacation rental that I purchased in the Poconos 11 months ago, and it's been doing great for me. And the reason I know it's doing great is because it survived the C word, the thing that's been wreaking havocs on the real estate market and even the short-term rental market. There's a lot of short-term rentals that aren't doing well because who wants to go vacation when it's a quarantine period, right? Who wants to meet with 10, 20 other people when they tell you to socially distance? So there hasn't been a lot of that, but we've been able in our vacation rental to have 30-day rentals because, well, one, the governor mandated it. He said nothing under 30 days. So we had to basically say, okay, no more short term and do 30-day rentals. So we've had 2 guests back-to-back, 30-day, and pretty much 100% occupancy during this entire time period. So knowing that the short-term rental that we have in the location that we have is fairly resilient. I mean, in the first year, we've had some amazing results, and I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. But knowing that it's fairly resilient, I've identified that as a winner in my portfolio, and I want to get more of those types of properties. I've also identified a loser in my portfolio, and I'm going to tell you about the loser. So here are the details on the loser. Williams Drive in Georgetown, Texas. That's my commercial property. It was a winner in the past. It was great. I feel so bad calling it a loser. I mean, it was the property that helped me get my start in real estate. We officed out of it, and I was able to rent out the other offices to help pay for the mortgage. But it's a loser for a couple of reasons. One, we don't need the space anymore. We've been working from home long before everyone worked from home. Long before it was cool or mandated, we were working from home. And so we just don't need that building from a practical point of view. And I could have sold it a while ago, but I just hung on to it thinking it's in a great location. It's in on main road, so maybe I'll just hold on to it for more appreciation as things develop around it. And so I've been renting it out to small businesses, but as you know, small businesses are going to take a hit. Even though a lot of them are getting government bailouts and PPP, EIDL, and all sorts of acronyms and government assistance, SBA stuff, there's still going to be a lot of small businesses that are going to fail, unfortunately. And that is my target market of who I want to rent to. And so I'm anticipating that becoming very difficult. So I'm selling that property. I've sold it. And I'm going to buy a new short-term rental. So here's the current situation. Back in May, I had it listed for $425,000 and I got an offer for $395,000 by a buyer who's going to occupy it for himself. So it certainly makes sense. And then as that was happening, I called my real estate agent in the Poconos, great agent, Alicia. If you need someone, let me know, I can hook you up with her. And then 4 days later, she was looking at properties for me, giving me the scoop because I didn't see any of these properties. And we narrowed it down to 2 properties. One was in the same neighborhood as Old Stage. And if you want to see the walkthrough for Old Stage, check out the link above. I do a walkthrough of that home. So one was in the same exact neighborhood. It was a known quantity. I knew exactly how it would perform, but I didn't like it because it needed some work being done to it. Now, I already put about $70,000 into the Old Stage property when I bought it, and that reduced my cash-on-cash return. So I didn't want to do that again. Even though this was a bigger home, 7 bedrooms, it was amazing. The other property was in another neighborhood, but it was turnkey. All the furniture was included, just like the other one, but it was in super good condition. And it was in a neighborhood, Lake Harmony, that I wanted to be in from the very beginning, but I just didn't have any luck finding something. So I settled on the Old Stage property. So it allowed me to geographically diversify. If you watch some of my other videos, I talk about the importance of geographically diversifying your real estate so you don't put all your eggs in one basket. There's going to be some advantages in Lake Harmony. For example, it's going to draw lots of crowds for big events. But there's also advantages in Old Stage, the Albrightsville neighborhood, because it's at a lower price point. So by geographically diversifying, you're going to kind of level out the risk a little bit in your portfolio. So I liked it because it was furnished, turnkey, no work really needed to be done, Lake Harmony, and the cool thing was it was never a rental. So because it was never a rental, you know, chances are it was just taken care of a lot better, not as much wear and tear. So where does that bring us today? Well, before I go into that, so I ended up going for the one on Pine Knoll, and we executed that contract 4 days after Williams Drive. It was listed for $450, and I bought it for $440. So the thing is that it's important for you to know is I'm doing a 1031 exchange. What a 1031 exchange is, when I sell Williams Drive, instead of pocketing that money and getting taxed on it by the government and having to give away my profits, you know, 30% to the government or whatever that's going to be, I can take that money and defer the taxes if I put it in another property. But that other property has to be more expensive. So selling Williams Drive at $395 and buying Pine Knoll at $440 checks the box. Now the problem was I made a full price offer on Pine Knoll and I made it contingent upon Williams Drive. Basically I said, hey, I'll buy your house, I'll give you full price, but if something happens to Williams Drive, I'm backing out. And the seller didn't go for it because it's a pretty hot market in the Poconos. He's like, I'd rather not take the risk and get less than full price with someone else. And so what I did is, I knew that whether it's going to happen on this house or another house, having a contingency would be very difficult, but I needed to identify another property. So I removed the contingency, I took the risk. Even if Williams Drive didn't sell, I'd have to buy this house. So I removed the contingency, but I also reduced the price, the full price of $450, I offered them $10,000 less. And guess what? They took it. So that just goes to show terms are more important than price. So to this seller, he would rather have $10,000 less and have the assurance that I would buy his property and not let Williams Drive mess up the deal. And I was happy to have a $10,000 discount and take the risk because I was pretty confident that Williams Drive will close. And if not, it's a great house anyways, and I want to buy it. So I got the house for $10,000 less. The feasibility period is over for Williams Drive in just a few days from now, the recording of this video, but it will be passed by the time this video comes out. I didn't want to jeopardize the deal by having anything public on any of these properties. And the feasibility period for Pine Knoll is a few days afterwards. So I still have a few outs of the contract because the feasibility period for Pine Knoll is after the feasibility period for Williams Drive. The feasibility period basically is a time that's built into the contract where you can back out for specific reasons. There's a lot of reasons you can back out. So even though a contract is not contingent on another one selling, like in this one, I decided to not have a contingency, there are still ways out of the contract. So the buyer has a lot of different ways out of the contract. So I still feel really good about this deal. So what's the lesson here? The lesson here, if you're watching this video, is do you have loser properties in your portfolio? What's a loser property? If you have a loser property, sell the loser property. It could be a loser because it's not cash flowing. Maybe every month you're having to pay extra because the rent is not high enough to cover the expenses. It could be a loser property because it's in a location that you're just not needing anymore. I mean, obviously you don't need the rental homes to be close to you, but if it's a commercial building and you're having some use for it, like I did, and now you no longer need it, then that's a good reason to sell it. It could be a loser property because you find returns that are better in another property that you're going to replace it with, like in my situation. For example, Williams Drive was returning about 10%, 10 to 15% per year, which isn't bad. But the numbers for Old Stage, so for the past 4 years, the previous owner of Old Stage was basically generating about $85,000 a year in revenue before expenses. In our first year, we had 0 reviews on Airbnb. We had no idea what we were doing. We had to go through a worldwide pandemic. In our first year, we did 20% better than the previous owner. So the returns on Old Stage was about 20 to 30%. So that was twice, 2 to 3 times better than Williams Drive. So that was a good reason to sell. Sell the loser, buy the winner. So if we can, the other reason why your property might be a loser is because it's giving you a lot of headache managing it. You're maybe self-managing it. And so, easy fix. If your property is a loser and you're tired of managing it, find a good manager. And we manage properties in Virginia, Maryland, DC, and Texas. So if you want us to help you buy a winner in those areas, or if your property is in that area, give us a call and we can help. If you like this video, please comment below. Let me know what you liked about it. It really helps support the channel if you share it and give us a big thumbs up. Again, this is your favorite homeboy signing out.